Okay, so we're getting ready to do the split stick method for the rattan on rattan fire thong. Now here I've taken a whole section of rattan. It's about 18 inches long because again I'm going to step on it. I've used wax nylon down here to stop this split from going any farther, okay, to make sure that this is still stable. I have a small wedge in here of cedar to prop the split open. Alright. The other thing you need to make sure of is any splinters that are in here. They need to be removed because they may interfere with the coal creation. Alright. And we came very close to not being able to get a coal with the last method because I see some splinters clearly got pushed into the hole during the process. So we were lucky it wasn't destroyed. Okay. So we need to clear this area here. You may, if you want to, run sandpaper in between the groove like you would just run some sandpaper in there, or a file. In fact, I have a round file right here, and just kind of clear or pull some of those splinters out of there. Okay, as best you can. Do whatever it is you got to do to make sure it's nice and clean and clear, because you don't want to mess up having it mess up while you're performing that technique. Okay, again we need to find, again it goes from bigger to smaller, okay, the crack. So we need to find the mean, the golden mean. What is the actual size of this space that we need to match our blade? Okay, we want it to be slightly bigger than the width of the blade. That's the place we want. Okay, I'm going to play the lottery and try and use this blade again because I think there's enough meat on it to actually last through another one. Alright, after I clean it up, that is. See, it still has a bunch of splintering on there. Alright, so I'm going to tie down the peg to the split to make sure that doesn't move. Then we're going to apply the tinder bundle to the inside to catch the coal and to maintain temperature and to allow air to go in between. And we're going to give it a shot. Okay, here's a rattan base split method that I had used, which you'll see in the pictures, previous pictures, and you can see from the inside and on the outside here, this one had a pretty good sized coal from the burn marks. You can tell by the burn marks. Okay, on this rattan half. Alright, split stick. Alright, so we're going to do that and then we're going to get on it. Alright, so we're just about ready to begin. Here's our split stick base, the female counterpart. Now it's been lashed with the peg. Okay, the inside is fairly cleaned up. I put a groove around that space on the bottom. Okay, now the pegs, if it sticks up, it has to stick up on top, or it should stick up on top. So the bottom part, okay, here I have a groove set around where I think is the proper width space to put the blade. Okay, so I clean up our blade, our male counterpart of that. Again, we're going to use the same one, see if it holds up for us. We're really going to push it. Now here I have a large, let's say a large gumdrop, okay, of tinder. So we're going to ball that up, and then we're going to roll it. And then what we're going to do is, we're going to, from the bottom part where the groove is, okay, we're going to shove that down in another U. Okay. And again, this is to contain the coal as it forms and to hold temperature. Get it just the way you want it and the way it should be. Okay. Make sure it has enough, just the right amount of space, right, to capture. Alright, and that's going to face downward. Here I've taken a small rectangle of cedar, and that's going to go on top of our split, because where we're putting our clamp is where the split is. So obviously I need something to take all that space to receive that clamp. Okay. Alright. Again, the groove has a space for the blade to be able to fly through. Okay. I'm going to secure that down well. Actually, that's too low. Okay. Keep it straight. Now, we're going to get a good, I think, as best a close-up view of that as we can for you. Actually, let's probably want to see some of the action. Actually, let's do it to the side. Sorry for all the ruckus. Yeah, that's better. All right. Here we go. I'm gonna hop on up on the table. Put our blade in to the space, stepping on the base on the back end, and we have to get this made, then warmed up. Now I'm not so much pulling with my arms as I'm using my spine to turn. So I turn on my spine as an axis. I think it's mated well. It's warming up. It's smoking. So we're just going to go. Keep going, keep going. Come on, hold up. Keep going, keep going. Keep going. Alright, let's give it a shot. Let's see what we got. So most of the dust actually fell out and didn't collect. So we're going to have to try that again. I think I'm really going to push it and use the blade again. Alright, let's fix that. Here, I'll show you. There. no dust collected. Actually, the dust kind of fell out, fortunately. So you'll notice in some of the pictures of my previous attempts, I had a lot of tinder around where the blade actually moves back and forth. And a lot of times that's to also catch the coal dust, the coal extender, as it falls. Keep it in one place. Well, I didn't do that this time. It's good that you see that. You can see that it's empty inside there. So let's do it again. So I want to quickly show you the way I'm going to do this next. Even though it's not on the ground, this would be considered tied to a tree. Okay, here it's just clamped to one of my pillars. But here, the base, here the back is facing toward me. You can see the U of tinder in there. Now here what I've done is in this space, I've placed tinder just underneath the groove. See the groove? It's just underneath the groove. Okay. Now sometimes a splinter of the blade will catch hold of the tinder and just pull the whole tinder bundle out. So you have to be very careful. Okay, but what we want to do is maintain temperature and containment of the notch so that you catch all the coal. Technically the coal is all supposed to form inside the split, which is what we're going to do if our blade holds up. Okay, so I'm going to put the camera back on the stand. It's going to be a little odd, but actually for me this is actually a better position. Alright, where's our blade? Here's our blade. I'm going to insert that against the base and pillar. Now what's nice is what I do is I put my foot up against what would be the tree or the pillar, and that way I could really lean back and pull on this. Because when you're doing this on the ground like this, okay, you're basically pulling up with your back, and that's not really very good. Okay, now if you could fix the distance of your blade where you can stay straight and pull this way, you can't really use your spine. You have to use your arms and your shoulders to pull up and down. But with this, in this direction, I get to use my body weight instead of my back, my arms, and my shoulders. Okay, I can use my body weight to lean on it, okay, instead of fighting gravity going up. I just have to lean. Alright. Hopefully our blade, oh, this is not stable. Alright, so I fixed that problem of stability. What I did was I took a bungee cord and put it around the top part where most of the unilateral force was taking place. Alright. So we have to get this warmed up again. Hopefully our blade will last a little longer. Keep going, keep going. And I think that's done it. Yep, there's a coal in there. Careful. Funny, right? You can see it smoking. Of course, the native way, the original way, is to do that on the ground. But that's really not one of my favorite positions. It's too much on the back for me. And if I were to try to stand straight, then I would use more of my arms, which I don't like. Oh, come on. You can do it. Come on out. There we go. It's ready to go. Come here. And there we go. Another nice fire thong fire. All right. Now we're going to go on to Art of the Variation. All right. And just a couple quick things and our segment is over. All right, next. All right, and welcome to Art of the Variation segment of the Fire Thong. Now, as you've probably been expecting, since it seems to be a running theme in all my methods of variations, is reloads. Okay, so here we have our blade that we used, okay? And as you can see, I used up just about the same amount of rattan for handles, the purpose of handles, as I did for the actual blade area, okay? Which is, again, if you notice, between 6 to 8 inches, okay, as a length. So basically, this is 1/3 for a handle, 1/3 for the middle, and 1/3 for the other handle. Well, this is now wasted material, in a sense. You know, I'm going to end up throwing this out. But thinking economically, we don't have to do that. So here we create the reload blade for the Phyre Thong. Okay, so what I'm going to end up doing is right here at the right where the burning ends. Okay, this whole length here, I'm going to save. So I'm going to cut this here and cut this here. Okay, and I'm going to save these later to make brand new rattan reloading blades for another time. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. Here is an actual reload blade that I used and that you would see pictures of. This is rattan, okay, and it's approximately 18 inches. It's burned, so you can see it's now staying in that shape permanently because of that burn on the inside. Okay, it's formed because of the heat process. All right. Now, in creating a reload, the only thing you have to do is make up for the length that would have been made up by the rattan or bamboo. Okay. So what I've done here is create 2 little side nocks, okay, on each side in order to hold handles. Okay. Now this technique is very much like the toggle drill, okay, because unlike the Phyre plow, which is push-pull, and Phyre saw, which is push-pull, the Phyre thong is pull-pull, okay? And it is a very strong unilateral force, just like toggle drill. So, but what really makes this technique much more comfortable and easier to stand is handles, okay? So here we have some classic wooden toggles, okay? I even have a groove in the middle to receive the cord, okay, so it doesn't go anywhere, just spins in there if necessary. All right. So I have 2 of these, so that makes these very comfortable. Okay. And beyond that, you can get very creative. Okay. So just as a warning, remember these from the toggle drill? These are, again, solid metal, and they're very heavy. So I warn you not to get ones that are too heavy. This one is the 5/8 of an inch by 4 inch hitch pin, and these are very heavy. So what you're going to end up doing is, it's almost like you're lifting weights along with trying to apply friction, which is bad enough. Okay. So if you're going to get hitch pins or something similar, don't get something that's very heavy. Okay. Throw those aside. Now these are interesting. In the hardware store, I found these screwdrivers, these mini screwdrivers that came out as a T. So the way these are made is you have these as a handle and you bear down to try to screw a screw in, whether it's a Phillips or a flat screw. But I took those mini screwdrivers out, and I'm left with the handles. So with these handles, I stuck in some eye screws on the ends, and now I have 2 toggle handles, which are very nice because the cord attaches right to the eye screws inside. Alright, again, you can get very creative coming up with toggles. But here are some ones that I really like. These are all cabinet handles. So when you go to the hardware store, and you could find yourself a cabinet handle for pulling out drawers. Okay. Now they come with a regular screw, so what you need to do is find eye screws in the packages that are number 8s. Okay, 32 by 1 5/8. This is the size you need. I think if you're going to buy any kind of cabinet handle. So this is the standard screw it would come with, and so that's the same metric measurement as that. Okay. Take that out of there. Here's a couple other cabinet handles. There's this kind of like a Thor's hammer kind of thing, right? Mjolnir. Here's, yeah, these are 2 different kinds. So, and again, they go in like this, and you would have the eye screw here or here, and these little ones. And some chrome or silver type hammer types that fit like this. Okay. And I like these because they're a little longer. And cabinet handle. Okay. This one has the eye screw in it, but it also has another kind of screw and bolt attachment for a cable system. Okay, usually you see these for cables when you're trying to make a loop or something like that. Alright, and you'll see why in a little while. And then here we have a darker version, which I like. Here the eye screw is already attached. Okay. And we have our cord. And how this holds on is, this is basically just a loop. The whole thing is a loop. And where our reload is, remember our little carved notch here? All right. Well, I turn it back on itself. Just like that. Okay. And this will go right on the outside. Clamp down on that of our reload. And we'll do our other one. Okay. So clamp down on the outside. And here are our toggles, which make up the difference of the rattan that would be there, and here's our reload. And that's all we need. Pretty much an 18-inch piece instead of like 40 inches. Okay. And that saves all material. And all I have to do is cut my rattan sections down to, I only have to cut them down to about 18-inch size pieces, and then get my reloads out of that. Okay, I don't have to make them out of long 40-inch strips. Here's another one, and I got this at the pet store. Actually, it's some kind of leash, and it has a clip on the end. Okay, and what it does is it holds my cable thing. I don't even know what you call this thing, actually. So that'll go on there, and how you hold on to this is this goes behind your hand like this, and the cord goes between your fingers, and that won't go anywhere. And this is like your toggle, just wraps around your hand, and then you can't even let go of it if you wanted to. It won't slip out of your hand. So this is one of my favorites. All right, and the only thing about this though is it can tend to crush your hand. It crushes the bones of your hand together, but it's still very comfortable because it's very wide. All right, so now I'm going to show you how these cable clamps attach to the reload. Okay, I have two ways to really attach them. One is by cord, this way, and the other is by cable clamp. Alright? So I'm going to prepare that and show you right now. Alright, so here I've taken a strip of rattan. Actually, it's one of the leftover handles from our previous Phyre thong. And I split it in half. So this is the other half. So this is about a little over a 1/8 inch strip. And this is the back, which has the skin, okay? And the inside is smoothed down a little bit. A lot of the splinters taken out. The sharp edge is taken out. And here's what I've done. I've made a little bit of an indent here, okay? And that space has to fit inside this space of this keyhole space for this cable clamp. So this goes in here and then lies flat inside that space, and we pull our clip back so that it lays flat up against our reload, and then we start to tighten the nuts. Okay, so we're tightening up this nut here on this one side. The other side's already tightened up. So we tighten down this cable clamp onto this reload of rattan. Okay. And here's how this is going to work, in a sense. Let's see, I wonder. If I put prop this up. Give me a second. I think I'm going to run this one sideways between my feet. Actually, let's do this one on the floor. I'm going to do this one on the floor. Alright. So I have this as a prop. Tinder underneath. We're going to do split stick on rattan. Actually, let's do it. Let's use this sodal. Sodal or rattan? Now let's stick with the rattan. I'm going to continue to do on this one groove here that I got a coal in already here. All right. And you can see the reload strip, about 18 inches. These are the ones that wrap around your wrists, or around the back of your hand, and go through your fingers. So I'm going to step on this side, and then what I'm going to do is hold down the other side with my foot. Okay. Hands through the fingers. Okay. The tinder doesn't want to stay. Let's see if we can get a coal without the tinder being there. Okay. So this is the rattan reload with handles. Alright, so here I've made a bamboo reload. This one's just a hair over 12 inches, so it's shorter than 18. Okay, so we're kind of pushing it a little bit. And here I have some dovetail knocks placed on the sides of the ends. This is the other end. Okay, and the reason for that is because we're going to be using the cabinet handle toggles, okay, with the eye screws. Again, this is a loop, okay, and with this loop we take the end of that loop and we fold it over on itself, okay, and we want the outside of the cinching to be on the outside of the bamboo. So where the skin is, you don't take the skin off. You don't take the skin off your rattan, and you don't take the skin off your bamboo. Okay. So those dovetail cuttings, those notches, hold the cord. Okay. And the tighter you pull, the more the knot cinches down. All right. So here's the other one. And again, that goes to the outside of the bamboo, because it's the inside of the bamboo that's going to meet the friction of the bamboo base. This is a pretty large base. It's over 2 feet, 2 feet long. Okay. And as you can see, it has a hole in it. All right. And it has a bit of a groove in it, just to kind of keep the blade over the hole. Okay. And I think we're going to do this on the floor. Now, the method I would want to show you is, and this bamboo tube is going to hold the space from the floor. We'll do this on the floor. Now, I would want to show it to you this way. Okay. This way. Where my hips are, you know, in a line. They're square. All right. But in fact, I may be able to pull that off. But I think what I'm going to do is, instead of doing it this way, now you could do it this way if you have a really short blade. All right. But what I'm going to do in this instance, and actually what is more comfortable for me, is if I have my, at least in this case, my right leg behind and my left leg in front. All right. And I do this like I'm passing a basketball between my legs while I'm trying to move up and down the court. Okay, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is put a piece of tinder here on top of the hole, just to keep it warm. Don't put it in the hole, because we don't want to, we want to make room, a space has to be there for the coal. Okay. Now we want to get this mated, so we want to get it warmed up. Warm up the wood, and that kind of helps keep it from splintering. Alright? I gotta get in a better position. Hold on. Okay. My bamboo's starting to split up. Oh, I lost my tinder. You know what? I'm gonna try this one horizontal like. Let's see how that one goes. I must be pushing a it's starting to splinter on the back. That's why. Hold on. Here's a complication you should see. Splintering of the skin on the back. So I'm going to take those off. Guess that's just the way this bamboo is. The blade is really hot, by the way. Let's put that back. Let's put this back. Let's hope my base doesn't crack on me and my blade doesn't break. go. Keep going, keep going. Cool. And there's our coal. Oh, I dropped it. I dropped the coal. That was very unprofessional of me. But there it is. All right. So there's our base. There's my daughter's foot. There's our blade. All right. Splintering a little bit, but it held up. Oh, I just broke it. There we go. All right, we just made it with that coal. All right, we are now on to Epimethii. Be right back. Okay, so hopefully none of that was too complicated and you understood that. So I have the two 3x8 galvanized nails in there, and we did a like hitch pin kind of affair where we drilled holes in the nails and put nails through the holes of the wood, through the nail and back into the wood. So, and if you want to, we can make that removable if you want to, but here it's kind of semi-permanently, right? We took the rattan, we split that. These are our replacement pieces, our reloading, our base reloads right here. The other thing we can do is drill holes into the base reloads, and if the nails are removable, put the nails through the reload and into the reloading base if you want to do it that way. And instead of splitting the base reload, put a hole in it. So do the hole notch instead of the split notch for this affair. We took the piece of buckskin, and that is securely tied to one of the nails. That is going to help hold dust in as we go back and forth with the reciprocation of the flexible blade, the fire thong. And this end is going to be tied up by a piece of sinew, artificial sinew. Here I have one that has a loop on it that goes around this nail here. And what this will do is this will come around this way, and that's going to hold up the buckskin on this end this way, okay, while the saw goes back and forth in between the buckskin to help hold the dust in so it doesn't just fall all over the place. So we'll see how well that works. Alright, I think we're ready to give it a shot. We got the tinder inside, and we took off that skin that's on the rattan right there, and I put a little bit of a groove with the file. So we're going to give this a shot. So this should be more, I should say, ergonomically effective than the way it is doing it vertically with your feet one behind the other, which is kind of uncomfortable. I mean, if you grow up doing that your whole life, which we're not, because we're not from New Guinea or things like that. But so this one is invented to keep your feet horizontal and keep your movement perfectly in line with your body being in alignment. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the floor and we're going to give it a shot. Okay, so we're getting set up. So the first thing we do is we take the cord and we put it through underneath so that the rattan thong is between the base reload and the buckskin. See that? Now what we're going to do here is we're going to take that tie and we're going to, buckskin's curling over, take that tie and we're going to put that around so that it catches the buckskin, and then we go around to the nail and put that around the nail a few times. Hopefully that'll hold. Okay. Now let's set this down on the ground. Okay. That's in the groove. I can feel that it's in the groove. So we're going to lift that up. Okay. Now here's how I like to do this. I put the balls of my feet with my toes on here, but my heels are on the floor. You see that? Alright. So you're kind of seeing it from the opposite direction that I am. Get more stable here. So, if I put this directly under my feet like this, my own legs are in the way of me being able to move. So there's that variable of space. Here I've taken up the space with my own legs, so I don't want to do that. So that's why I use the balls of my feet and my toes, and my heels are on the ground, and that opens up the space. And that also allows me to stand all the way up. So let's get this mated and warmed up. Now, let's have a look, shall we? Oof, that's smoking pretty good. And here's our reloading base. Let's knock that coal out. There we go. So it kept everything together. Okay. And there we go. All right, next one. Okay, so we're ready to get started on our next reloading base. And here what we're using are real hitch pins that you use for a trailer. And as you saw in the pictures, what we're doing is we're taking a removable nail that is tied to the board with another nail with the wax nylon with the artificial sinew, and it fits into the hole, into the hitch pin, just like the nails. So we line that up, and that fits right in there like that, and that is also removable and won't get lost. Okay. So again, this one is for demonstration purposes. So what we have here are a whole bunch of holes ready to go. And let's get our other hitch pin. So as you can see, we did the 3/8 inch holes. Okay, and here we cut out the gouges so that it fits right into the hitch pins, just like that. Okay, let's hook this other one in. Line that up. Pop that in there, and it's ready to go. Now, if you have this measured correctly, you don't even need to tie it down. See, it just fits right in there, just like that. It squeezes together, and it'll stay up by itself. And it shouldn't fall while you're doing the process because you're pulling up. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. Now, again, we have holes. We're not doing the split, so we shouldn't need a barrier underneath. Really, when you're doing the split version, that's when the coal dust can just go everywhere, it just splays everywhere, because you don't really control the space. But when you have a hole, you pretty much control the space, because 360 degrees, that coal dust can be trapped. However, your hole must be just the right size, not too small and not too big. So again, we're going to use the same rattan blade, as I call it, that we just used before. Let me put that underneath there. I guess we'll take that out. Take that hitch pin out. Put that up so that this can get underneath, because my cabinet handle would not fit underneath the 2x3. And we got that back in. So we're ready to go. Now with the Sureform, this is actually a Sureform brand round microblade, we created our grooves so that they have nowhere to go. And what we're doing is we're using pine, reusable pine. If you're lucky enough to have sodal or rattan, which are not very easy to come by. Well, sodal if you live in the Southwest, but in the rest of the United States, and rattan doesn't even grow in the United States. So sodal and rattan are hard to come by. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use 2x3. Okay, a pine 2x3, and that's what we're using. So let's throw this down on the ground. As you can see, this one is much wider. It's really technically a 2x10, and which of course is like 9.5 inches, as you saw. So, but by 3 feet long. Okay, so let's throw this one down on the ground and give it a shot. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here we're ready to go. And what I do here with this one is, because it's much longer, I could splay my feet out, and that opens up this space that I talked about before. Remember, with the other one, I'm in my own way with my legs, but here, by splaying my legs out in the lower portion here, I still have plenty of room to groove. So I think we're ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to pick one of these holes with the grooves, and let's get that warmed up. You can see smoke coming out of the hole. And there we go. I think we got it. So we remove our pins. That was a lot of smoke. Try to pop that out. Oh. There you are. I almost didn't get it out in time. I had to crush it up getting it out so that it would get air. Pop the rest of it out. There. And there we go. So that was rattan on pine, and as you can see, I got a whole bunch more to go for demonstration purposes, so long as, well, you know, I got plenty of blades nearby to just throw in there. So you can see really the practicality, especially demonstration wise, of having reloads, blade reloads and base reloads. Alright, let's keep going on to beneath the eye. Alright, so we're finally in our epimethii section of Phyre Thong, and there isn't much out there on Phyre Thong. I mentioned that in the beginning. If you have questions with it, feel free to email me, things like that. Actually, with anything. It's very interesting technique, how you have this flexible piece which moves around the cylinder base. It's just fascinating how it could really achieve a good friction with that. So we're ready to move on to the civilized variations. The first one is going to be the Alexa drill, named after my daughter here. She's 6 years old now, but she was 4 years old when she first got a fire with, or I should say got a coal with the that contraption, which I'm going to show you. So, something I almost forgot. So, in the video with Mal Stevens of Maine Primitive Skills, you'll see him also use ropes for like handles or extensions, things like that. These ideas, when you work on something long enough, the ideas they just come, right? So they're going to be there. Now, if you really want to conserve your material, that's really the way to go. So we recommend that. And thanks again to Mal Stevens for showing me the whole method there. And thanks to all the video that's on the internet out there for helping me learn this, because I didn't have a teacher to learn it. And here I'm trying to pass it on to you because it belongs, all of the world of friction firekeeping belongs to the world of humanity, right? Yo. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. And on that note, with that, we move on to our whole next part, the civilized variations. We're going to do the drill versions first, and then we'll do the linear methods after that, and then we're all done. We're going to close up with some things, and we'll be good to go. All right? Say goodbye.
Bye-bye.